One example of this is the regional cooperation embodied in the Pacific Northwest Economic Region Organization, or PNWER, which links 5 U.S. states with British Columbia, Alberta, and the Yukon on matters of mutual interest. One of the great benefits of our federalist system in the United States and in Canada is that our states and your provinces can serve as laboratories for creative ideas and new policies. If they're successful, they can be replicated across our countries. Also, it allows us to find regional solutions to regional problems. PNWER is a model for policy innovation and creative solutions that lead to increased economic well-being and quality of life for all citizens of the region. It's led the way for designing enhanced driver's licenses, an important identity card that can substitute for passport at our land borders. Through its unique public-private approach, PNWER has advanced issues related to energy, the environment, and the border. It was a key partner in developing new Amtrak lines between Washington State and British Columbia, and it's a key partner in enhancing the competitiveness of this region in both domestic and international markets. If you combine the GDP of each of the PNWER jurisdictions, PNWER represents the 11th largest economy in the world. And as my Vice President is fond of saying, that's a big deal. President Obama has made it clear that protecting the people of the United States is his first priority. Likewise, your leaders understand the importance of protecting the Canadian people. We're working together to address the threats to both of our countries. The United States and Canada have a rich history of cooperative security. The Ogdensburg Declaration, issued by President Roosevelt and Prime Minister King on August 18, 1940, set our common security strategy. The United States and Canada have an inseparably shared responsibility for the defense of North America. Our military partnership in NATO, which just celebrated its 60th anniversary, and in NORAD, which marked its 50th anniversary last year, is unprecedented. No two militaries are more integrated or more compatible than ours. As Prime Minister Harper stated during his press conference with President Obama a few weeks ago, the view of this government is unequivocal. Threats to the United States are threats to Canada. And I would add that the reverse is also true. A threat to Canada is a threat to the United States. Our cooperation and our shared defense have served both countries well for generations. We're now working together to ensure that our common defense is adequate to protect us from the threats of the 21st century. Part of addressing the new threats of the 21st century necessitates new requirements at the border. Programs like the Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative are intended to facilitate the movement of legitimate travelers and safe goods. I believe, however, that the security for both Americans and Canadian people and the efficiency at the border is not a zero-sum game. We don't need to make the false choice between security and trade. If we approach this intelligently, if we approach this cooperatively, we can have both. Part of the issue at the border is that much of our border infrastructure is outdated. Some of it predates the Second World War. We need to improve it and make better use of new technologies. Fortunately, significant amounts of money were allocated in the U.S. stimulus package for border infrastructure, and Canada, too, has allocated resources to this issue. A word of perspective on all this. The closeness of our relationship, just as in many families, produces wonderfully supportive structures. But from time to time, it also produces some dust-ups. And when the dust-ups occur, they're the fodder for those who love to speculate about daylight between the United States and Canada. But it is important to keep these dust-ups in perspective. I believe that the measure of a relationship is not whether there are problems from time to time, but rather whether both countries demonstrate the resolve to address those issues in a constructive fashion and to move forward in our search for what my new Canadian counterpart in Washington, Gary Dewar, refers to as our mutual best interests. And by that standard, ladies and gentlemen, the relationship between the United States and Canada is as strong as it has ever been. My president wisely says that when we have disagreements, there must be sustained effort to listen to each other, to learn from each other, to respect one another, and to seek common ground. You have my word that I will do everything in my power to try to meet the standard my president has set for me.
This presents challenges for a country like Canada, but also great opportunities.